Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you guys are all having a great week of training. And today's topic I wanted to go over how to run a sub 19 minute 5K. So for the athletes that are out there, maybe you're one of them that's trying to run 1859 or faster, you already know you have to be able to sustain 6:07 mile pace or 3 minutes and 48 seconds per kilometer over those 5 kilometers. And the 5 kilometer event, as we already know, it's a highly anaerobic event. So you have to work on your speed development. Most athletes can still run a very strong 5K off of just basically running volume, just consistent mileage on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Those athletes that want to run a specific time, especially a sub 19 minute 5K, still have to work on building that endurance and doing the other things that are going to make you a successful 5 kilometer athlete. 1859 is no joke. That is a very competitive time. A lot of athletes around the world desire to break 19 minutes for 5K. And you know, I have a huge respect for the distance myself. I ran 14:18 for 5 kilometers on the roads, and it took me many years to get to that point. So we all have our starting point. Maybe you're at 22 minutes right now and you're dreaming about running 1859. You have to get 6:07 mile pace or 3:48 kilometer pace to feel more manageable. And unfortunately, because the 5K is such a highly anaerobic event, it's over very quick. It's not like the marathon where you can go out too aggressive and kind of make up for that by slowing down and kind of regrouping. Whereas in the 5K, because it's over so quickly, if you go out too fast and too anaerobically too aggressive in the first mile of that race, you're going to really pay for it in the last 2 miles of the race. So I always tell athletes that are training for the 5K, definitely be consistent. Consistency can go a long way. And like I said, there are athletes out there that break 19 minutes for the 5K off just running consistent volume every single day, or there are athletes that are out there that are breaking 19 minutes running 3 days a week. There are other athletes out there that maybe don't have as much talent, but they have work ethic that may have to run 6 to 7 days a week in order to break 19 minutes. Always focus first on building your foundational mileage first before starting any 8, 12, or 16 week block of training. I have 8, 10, or 8, 12, and 16 week training plans on RunDreamAchieve.com, as well as running courses. But specifically, if you're training for the 5K, the mile to the 10K events, there are training plans that are there for you that are already built specifically for athletes that are trying to break specific times, like the sub 19 minute 5K. So one, build your endurance first, build that strong aerobic base of mileage before you start doing any type of anaerobic type workouts like tempo runs and fartlek workouts and doing your long runs. When you're doing your build up for your 5K, you can still do strides 2 to 3 times a week. Strides are very short. They don't build up a ton of lactic acid, so you can work on your acceleration, you can work on your form, you can work on pumping your arms and staying relaxed at sub-maximal or maximal efforts for very short amounts of time. And so you can introduce that acceleration, introduce that speed work into your easy aerobic base foundational mileage before you start working on your track sessions, your long runs, your tempo runs. I think the tempo runs for athletes that are trying to break 5 or 18 minutes or trying to break 19 minutes for 5K, work to a point where you can get your tempo run out to around 5 to 6 miles in length. And the reason why I say that is because psychologically, you doing your anaerobic threshold runs double the distance of the amount of time you're going to be racing and the distance you're going to be racing is going to help you psychologically as well. I mean, running is definitely a mental sport. So I do believe in doubling the distance of your tempo runs. If you're a half marathoner, you're training for a half marathon, get to a point where you can get that tempo run out to around 8 to 10 miles in length. It's a lot of time athletes, they do these tempo runs, they train at their anaerobic threshold, but the problem is they don't spend enough time training at that specific effort. And a problem is, yes, they've built their endurance, they've done plenty of volume, but if you don't train enough time training at your anaerobic threshold, and that's the point where your body starts to build up that lactic acid as you're running faster paces. And if you're not doing a routine VO2 max workout each week, it's going to be very hard to break 19 minutes for the 5K, because again, if you're not as physiologically talented, and you don't have those genetic gifts of raw speed, then you're going to have to spend more time. It may take you a little bit longer to break 19 minutes than somebody with a great deal of genetic talent. There is such thing as genetic talent. There's people that are born with the ability that have a very high VO2 max. They have an ability to clear lactic acid and create a very minimal amount of lactic acid at faster paces. Whereas there's other athletes that aren't as genetically talented, that have to work very hard, but also by working smarter can make up for that lack of talent with their work ethic. They may not have as high of a VO2 max effort, which is the ability to clear that lactic acid effectively and run at very fast paces. They can still run at very fast paces as opposed to the talented athlete, but they're building up much more lactic acid much quicker than the athlete that's more genetically talented. I hope that makes sense. But first, like I said, if you're trying to break a 19-minute 5K, it's again 6:07 mile pace for 3.1 miles, or 3:48 per kilometer for 5 straight kilometers. So make sure as you're setting up your training that you're spending a higher percentage of that weekly volume you are doing training at or close to or far below 6:07 mile pace or 3:48 kilometer pace. Don't just run easy every single day. Yes, if you're staying consistent and you do have a strong physical capability and you're strong mentally, there are athletes out there that definitely break 19 minutes off of just consistent mileage and that maybe they're sprinkling in strides and doing light workouts. But if you're not that type of athlete, such as myself, I mean, I didn't have a lot of talent, but I had a great deal of work ethic. So I trained for several years. Actually, I trained up to around 28 years of competing. I competed for about 28 years. I've been running for a little over 30. So I understand that to run fast in this distance, you have to work on your speed development. You have to work on spending longer durations at your anaerobic threshold, doing those speed workouts where you're working at speeds that are far faster, far greater, and much more aggressive than sub 19-minute mile pace. So for you, that might mean running your mile repeats at around 5:45 mile pace. Again, you're not seeking to run 5:45 mile pace for 3.1 miles here at 6:07. So spend some time running at those types of efforts that are below your goal race pace, so that you get to a point where once you start tapering down and you start resting your body's going to adapt to the stress loads that you're throwing at it. Again, be patient with yourself as well when you're training for a sub 19-minute 5K. The body takes between 3 to 4 weeks to adapt to any stress load you're placing on it. So early on, a 2 to 3 mile tempo run is going to be very difficult. But after about 3 to 4 weeks, after you've spent time doing, on a weekly basis, doing that tempo run on a weekly basis, you can start lengthening the amount of time you're spending at your anaerobic threshold, and also lengthen the duration that you're spending at that effort. So again, it's strategic. It's a strategic plan of action that you have to have. And again, when you invest in yourself, you obviously wouldn't be watching this video if you're not interested in personal development. You want success. You want to take your running to the next level. So these are some of the things I want you thinking about. Okay, be patient with yourself. Know, again, it takes between 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt to the stress load that you're placing on it. So expect that it's going to be very difficult to be doing those speed workouts in the early stages of your build-up. Don't just jump into doing speed workouts or doing tempo runs or fartlek runs. Fartlek runs you can do even when you're not extremely fit, because they can be just at moderate efforts. Maybe it's like a 10 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy for 10 minutes. And that 1 minute hard might just be like a moderate effort. And the 1 minute easy can just be a jog effort. So you can do fartlek workouts that aren't very long early on in your build-up, along with strides. And then after you start and you've built that 3 to 4 weeks of easy aerobic mileage, and you start focusing on a 8, 12, or 16-week block of training, then you're going to be much better prepared. Your ligaments are going to be stronger, your tendons are going to be stronger, your musculature is going to be prepared better than if you just jumped into a training plan and you hadn't done any types of aerobic base work first. So do that first, and then start your plan of action. Again, there's running plans, running courses, monthly coaching here on RunDreamAchieve.com that'll help speed up your process. Definitely leave me a comment below if there's any other questions that you have regarding the sub 19-minute 5K. And also let me know in the comment section below, what is your current best for 5K and where do you want to go in this event? I'd be interested in hearing where you guys and gals are currently at, and if there's anything else I can help you all out with. Give me a like if you can. I'd appreciate it. It helps the YouTube algorithm and more people to see these videos, and I appreciate your support. Without you all, it's awesome to hear from people from around the world that are telling me about their training and their racing, and I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.